Goodwork Foundation, which is slightly different. So most of you own, so you've got your own not-for-profit organization. So I work for one. So Goodwork Foundation has 3 centers spread out across South Africa. So there's a center in a small village in the center of South Africa, in the Free State. So there's a small village called Philopolis, where the Griqua people live. So these people used to be owned by the farmers. So that place, farmers used the Boeras, the farmers, and then they owned them, almost like slaves way back then. So now, after 94, they were free, but then they didn't have anywhere to go. So they had no homes, no schools, no nothing. So our CEO, Kate Bloch, started Goodwork Foundation there. And it varies according to where it is. So in the Free State, in Philopolis, they normally do buildings, they build schools, clinics, and there are ladies who are running soup kitchens and whatnot. So in that sense, we are more charitable in that area, in the Free State, compared to our other places. And then we've got a center in Hazyview. So we call it our Hazyview Digital Learning Center, HDLC. It's very modern. It was launched in 2012. Time runs fast. It was launched in 2012, and then we got most of our funding from T-Systems, which is a Dutch technology company based in Germany. So we got most of our funding to build that. So it's high-tech, it's got Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. It's a different setup altogether. So for now, I would say it's our head office, so to say. So it's in Hazyview in Mpumalanga. So we're in Free State, now we are in Mpumalanga. So because it's our head office, then there's Londolozi Private Game Reserve. Londolozi are our biggest sponsors. Long time ago, Kate is a teacher as well as a social worker, amongst other things. So she used to teach Boyd and Bronwyn, who are Dave and Shen's sons. They were traveling around Africa building lodges, and they wanted to take their kids with them. So instead of leaving them behind, they went and hired a teacher because they could. And then they started traveling, building lodges around Africa. So Kate was that teacher that they hired. So while we were under CC Africa, it's a long story, so Londolozi was managed by another company. Then there was Africa Foundation, who went into the communities and built schools. There's no infrastructure in most of our rural spaces. So the schools that we still have now in my village were built by the people. The extra buildings that are there, we got from the Game Reserve donations. So, and Africa Foundation was one of those, and it was born at Londolozi because Dave Batty, the owner of Londolozi, is very passionate about working with the communities, and you'll understand most of that when you watch the video. Then when CC Africa left and then the Batis took ownership of Londolozi, then they brought in Kate, then we changed our focus. So from building buildings, we realized that when you go to rural spaces, especially in South Africa, there are lots of beautiful buildings, and then there's a name there of the person who donated the money to build the buildings, and then when you go inside, nothing is happening. And then you've got this structure that is just sitting there, and then there's mold, and then it's rotting, and then nothing. So when the Vatis took ownership of Londolozi, because it was leased to CC Africa, we decided to go in a different direction. We've built buildings, we've learned from that, and now wanted to build people. But how do we do that? Most of our young people in the rural areas don't have skills. And it's not just the young people, it's even our mothers and fathers. Because during the old government, black people had to pay for school fees. So majority of them didn't go to school. So lots of South Africans are not educated, especially in rural spaces. It's a different story when you go to Johannesburg because they were, closest to things, and then, yeah, it's a different setup altogether. But when you go rural, you'll be shocked as to what's happening down there. So then that's when the Good Work Foundation came in. So we decided to focus on education. We do a whole lot of things. But then what we did, instead of going in there and saying, oh, we want to teach or we want to take over, we just came along. We realized that we couldn't change the system. It's the way it is. In South Africa, our pass mark is 30%. 30. And then your kid leaves school and says, yay, that's it, I'm done. Only to find that they cannot be accepted in our universities. They said, oh, you're failed. So right now, we have quantity education and not quality. So as Good Work Foundation, we are trying to come along those individuals and then we support them. And you have to build relationships with them and trust. And that is one of the biggest challenges that we face within the communities, because they've seen that. There are bad people coming in, building things, and then they disappear. So what's so different about you? And then, luckily, in Justicia, I was born and raised there. I'm a rural girl, like deep rural. I've said this to some of you before. From my village, you go to the game reserves, Londolozi, Kruger National Park. If you keep going, you'll end up in Mozambique. That's it. So it's the last, well, depending on which direction you're coming from. So it's also the best. So that's the scenario. So I'm based at Madala. It's very different to the way that the Digital Learning Center is being run, again, because of where I am. So yes, we went in there to teach English and digital literacy, but it's a village. People have issues. So I'm also involved with the home-based carers who are looking after people who are HIV. They don't get paid. They've got a stipend. I think it's 400 rands. And then our nurses, now they don't do anything. If you go to the clinic and you want to be bandaged, you're bent or whatever, they'll just call one of the home-based care ladies. Oh, I'm scared of rooms. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, where are the home-based carers? And then they'll come, and look after them. So that is the scenario. So I do a whole lot of things within the community, and the community determines that it's what they need. But we are not charity, and we are not a school. So we support individuals who walk into our doors, and then we just come alongside, and help them. So I'm going to show you the Good Work Foundation video, and then, yeah, we'll take it from there. So,